Cypress is a rather impressive JavaScript testing framework. It can be used with vanilla JavaScript or any SPA front-end framework or library that you want to use it with. For example, Angular, React, Svelte, Vue. It uses the familiar Mocha BDD syntax, and it bundles that with the Chai assertion library. So there isn't much of a learning curve in terms of the syntax. So the question now is, how, if we are using VS Code, the very popular open source IDE VS Code, how do we get IntelliSense or code auto-completion when we use Cypress? Now, if you are a VS Code user and you use it for professional development, chances are you have a bunch of extensions or plugins, right? So even though I have Cypress installed, I am not getting IntelliSense in my spec file, okay? My spec, whatever spec file that you're working with. So there is a very simple way to solve this. For example, let's say I do the command psi and dot, I get no code completion, and it's importing something that has absolutely nothing to do with Cypress. So the solution to this is very simple. I just have to declare a reference type to Cypress at the very top of the spec file. In this case, it happens to be homepage.spec. And this happens to be a React app, but again, you can use this with any SPA framework, okay? So now if I save that, okay, you see before each, let's do psi. See, now I'm starting to get IntelliSense. See on the psi object of getting all these methods on the object. So let's say visit, okay, visit the root before each, okay? And then let's say I want to get an ID in the DOM. Okay, so let's do psi.get, give it ID of bacon, and then we can chain on to this method, and then we can do call should, and then it should exist, right? And then it'll also give you auto completion for the string exist. All right. Now Cypress has various plugins. Plugins that are specific to a certain front-end framework. For example, see I've searched for React here, okay, but you search for Vue, search for Angular, okay, search for Svelte, okay. But let's say I want to import a certain Cypress testing library. If I click on this, it will open a GitHub repo, and then the repo will contain the instruction on how to install it via npm or yarn, and then you import it to your commands file. So, for example, if you npm install Cypress and you start a Cypress project, it will create this directory for you, Cypress directory, and inside of that, there's a support directory, and there's a file called commands, and then you would import whatever testing library that you want to use. Because how do I find out which package to import? Well, I look in the GitHub repo and the documentation are right there. Okay, so once I have that imported in my commands.js file, I save it, I go back to my spec file, wherever that may be, and then now I'm going to have find all by text, find by text, etc., etc. Okay, find by text. There it is right there. Let's find all the bacon, and then it should, again, auto-completion, exist, even the string. That's it, okay? As easy as that, all right? If you're a subscriber, thank you for being a subscriber. If you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing. Thank you. See you next time.